Awesome. So I'm going to use full circle and adding up, but just so you know, it doesn't really matter which product I'm using this afternoon because it's more of an overview of the way we can work with our digital material. You probably already have experience receiving your activation code by email. It's an 8-digit letter code. To use it, you have to create yourself an account on mycczone.com. You follow up the steps, you create an account, choose your username and password, and once you've done it, you get into My CC Zone. And if you want to add a product, you click on the plus sign over here. So let's say you have more than one product from CC and you want to use it in the same account. That's usually a lot more easier. You just click on the plus sign and then you enter your activation code. Just so you know, your account is good basically for life. So once you've created one, you can use the same one year after year. And it's the same for your students. They don't need to create an account every year. Once they come into Sec 1, they can use the exact same account every year as long as they remember their username and password. So it's the same for you. If you don't, you just click on the page on My CC Zone. You can just click on I don't remember my username and password, and then we send a just a link so you can reinitialize your username and password. So no need to create another and another account. This way it's a lot easier. Somebody just joined in. I would please ask you to turn off your microphone, please, because we have feedback right now. Thank you. All right, awesome. So let's get on with that. All right, as I was mentioning, I'm going to use full circle, but it's working the same for most of our collection, most of our product. So if I want to go in very quickly, I have a workbook. Of course, if I'm a teacher, I'll have my resources. So usually reproducible material. Some product offers videos and audios, some not, depending. And most of our collection have interactive activities. Of course, right now with this situation, a lot of you have bought the combo, so the paper version and the digital version as well for your students. So your students might have the digital workbook and the interactive activities as well. In order to be able to follow up your students' result, you need to do one first step, which is creating a group. That's what I'm going to have a look with you right here. So you have the 3 lines on your left. Once you click on it, you have access to your bookshelf. This is where we were. If you want to add another product, you can click on the plus sign on the top right or over here. Group management. So that's where we're going. I want to create a group for my students. So really easily, I've already created one, group 24, as an example. By creating a group, it's generated me an access key. And this access key I will give to my students that are in group 24, for example. Once I gave them the key, what they need to do, they need to sign into their account, username, password. Click over here. Click on join a group and then add this key. I'll show it to you later on, but very quickly, it's easy steps. We're going to create a group just so I can show you how easy this is. Create a new group because, of course, I'm an English teacher. I don't only have a group. Unfortunately, most of you have plenty of them. So create a new group because, of course, you probably have group, let's say 24, 25, 26, or so on. So create a group. I click on it. Just need to name it, whatever group I have. Let's say group 25, create, and here we go. It's generated me a new access key that I will give to my students that belong to group 25. I can create my students' account, but again, you have so many students that you don't need to do that. They can do that by themselves. They're old enough. They just need to follow up the steps to create a username and password. And most of them might already have one from the previous year, so they can use again the account, sorry, that they had last year, just by clicking on I need to remember my username password if they don't. So creating a group, that easy. Now, what does it do? Why am I creating a group? The group is created in order for you to be linked to your students. So you want to look into their interactive activities. Are they done? Have they succeeded? Have they done any homework in their workbook? So that will give you this option. How? Really easily. Just going to go back into my bookshelf. I'm going to go on my collection over here. You can see I have a little sign over here, which I call the family. When I click on it, it gives me the list of group I have that are related to my content. If I want to look into my group, I only need to select the group, and then I'll be able to see if they did any of the work I asked. So let's say I want to have a look into my group 22. I select it. I click on it. And I'm just going to quit the tutorial. I'm in group 22 right now. And what I can do, this is for my interactive activities. I can set up my interactive activities for this specific group. So let's say that we're doing chapter 1 right now because we're at the beginning of the year. And I want to do specific settings for that group. I don't want them to right away go into chapter 1 and do the whole thing because we're not there yet, let's say. So I could do a manually lock. So right now, as you can see, everything is selected. I can unselect. And let's say that I want to lock the reading and the watching. And then I click lock, apply, setting have been saved. Awesome. So right now, if my students were to go into their interactive activities, they'll be only able to click on watching because reading and the others watching section are locked. I could also select an accessibility period. So let's say I want to give them access from this afternoon until next Friday, because it's the time frame that I want them to have access to the material. I could do that. I could select and click on the little calendar here and select a specific period of accessibility. That's another option I have. Let's go down. Also, I can decide if I want to work on a formative or on a summative way. Formative, as you can see, I have numbers of trial. 10 is way too high. Of course, I don't want my students to try it out 10 times, but maybe 2 times could be good. So I'll select 2. I have the option of displaying the answer key after 1 trial, after 2 trial, in this case, after 2. They'll try it once. If they have it, good. If they don't, they'll be able to try it out another time, and then the answer key will display. Theory, yeah, I would like the theory on if available, of course. And random order of exercise. Are they side by side? Do I want them to look at each other or not? Do I want them to have the exact same question in the same order? I don't mind really right now, so I'm not going to click random, but that could be an option. All the time, please apply. If not, your settings won't go on, and then you'll have students that will be able to do reading and watching, and you'll call us and you'll say, hey, I don't understand. I did set it up. Yeah, but you might have forgot to click on apply. So really important to click on the apply button if you want to make sure that your settings are on. Let's say that, all right, we tried the formative way, but no, not really what I want. I would like more to use my interactive exercise as a mini quiz. Awesome. Then let's click summative. What does it do? You'll be able to select, of course, 1 trial. Display correction key. No, it's not there because it's a mini quiz. Theory, of course, not there. Random order, that could be useful because my students might be sitting one beside each other and I want to make sure they don't look at each other's computer or whatever, or give answers one to another. Apply. Settings are applied. Right now, I'm in a summative way. So this is another option that you have in terms of settings. Now, results. Any results that you have in, you can export in an Excel document if you want. So that's an option you have, or you can just have a look at it. We'll go and have a look briefly. And questions, we must select a series of questions, of course, right here. I'm going to show you over here my settings. No, not what I wanted. Sorry. Let's go back. All right, results. Right here. That's what I wanted to show you. See, we have a little board right here that is giving you an overview of the settings we just did. So an overview here of my reading section, it's unlocked. I'm on formative way. My theory is shown and my answer key is on for that specific part. Earlier, I've selected an accessibility period. So that's what's on right now. After that, I decided that we were going to put it in summative. My theory isn't shown, neither is my correction key. And I've selected that we have random questions. So this is what we have on right now. And if you look down for that specific section, I didn't choose an accessibility period and I didn't unselected the fact that I wanted formative, so it's still on. Results, right here. I just need to click. Quit tutorial. Sorry. Yes. Oh, sorry. I have no students right now in that specific group, so you won't see any result. I'll show you later on with another group, but this is where you could click if you wanted to see the results on a board. So you would see I have myself, Natalie. I didn't do any exercises, but if I did, I would see that I succeeded or not for question 1, question 2, and question 3, and I would have a result if I did any of those questions. So this is how it works. And of course, as your students will join your group, you'll see all their first name and last name adding up. So this is how it works for the group. Here you have a reset possibility. What we can do with the reset, it's quite easy. Different semester, let's say you finished semester 1, you would like to have your students have another practice, use it as a revision. You could do that. You just click on reset and then you reset the whole thing and they can do it again. At the end of the year, same thing. You want your students to do a review of the year. Well, you can just reset the whole exercises and they can go back and do it again just to make sure that they did understand and that they are doing a review by resetting your exercises. And that's what I was mentioning earlier. This little report here, little result part, you can print out if you want. So this is for the interactive activities part. Just going to go back again into my library. So really easily, you create a group, they join in, and then you can follow up their results. Later on, I'll show you how we can access their workbook as well. But right now, I'm just going to dig into the workbook. All right, so really easily, I can just travel into my workbook by using the dot at the bottom. Really easily, I can slide in. Just so you know, you can always type down at the bottom here the page you want to look at. Also, really quickly. And then I just need to click on my page, or you can use the table of content as well, which is a dynamic one. You have different overviews. Right now, as you can see, you see half of my page and it's zoomed in. So you see it probably quite big. But if you are in class and you want to show both pages, you have different modes. You could select the 2-page mode. if you wanted to have an overview of the workbook or textbook, depending if you want to talk about some of the examples that are on the left page to do the exercises that is on the right page, you can do so. It is quite small. This is why we've provided you with a Zoom. Zoom works really easily. You just click on it and it's like a selection. So you select the part that you wish to zoom, and then you're going to be able to zoom in. You're done. Just click zoom out. So you just need to do this selection, whatever. If it's a picture you want to zoom in, if it's a part of a text, part of a section, whatever you want to zoom in, you can just make your selection and it's going to go in really easily. Just going to go quickly on the different tools we have here. You have the text mode. So if you want to open up a text box, you can choose your color, font size, the size you want. You click on OK, and then it's going to open up a text box. So if you want to add text, I think it's behind over here. Your pencil. So really, really useful, of course, to write on. But a lot of teachers ask, well, I already have one with my interactive whiteboard. Of course you do, but what it does when you use our pencil, let's say I picked the blue, not too big. All right, I'm in the free mode. I select when I write into my workbook using the tool from my CC zone. What it does, if I move the page around, it will stick on the page. If I turn my page and then go back, it will still be there. It's not on top of it, it's really on it. If I do not erase it and leave it there, well, I can have it back in a week. I can have it back in a month. I'll be able to have access from anytime I want. So this is a great thing because it can be saved on the page. And let's say you want.
Nathalie, c'est gelé. Nathalie? Nathalie? Ça fonctionne. Oui, c'est ça, c'est gelé.
OK, parce que moi, j'ai eu un écran noir tout à coup, ça a comme gelé, c'est ça?
Peux-tu juste peut-être refresh?
Oui, c'est ça que je vais faire. Vous m'entendez pas du tout?
Non, c'est comme...
Je vais fermer puis je vais me reconnecter.
OK.
I'm sorry, it seems we have a little technical problem. I'm just gonna get back and share my screen again. Everything went black on my side and everything, I guess, was frozen on yours. So let me just get back to you where we were. I'm sorry about that. Claude, est-ce que ça fonctionne?
Oui.
Parfait. Okay, I'm sorry. So I guess it all went down when it all came black. So I was talking about the little art here. So sorry if I repeat myself. I don't know exactly where I lost you, but if I'm repeating myself, I'm really sorry. You'll know all about the heart. So I was explaining the fact that this little heart here is basically a selection you can make of something you would like to refer later on. So by clicking on it, it will open up left or right side. Of course, I'm in 2-page mode right now. So I can select if I want my left page or my right page or both. And then these pages that I really like, I can find back in my favorite list right here. So later on, I'll be able to refer to those 2 pages if I want, without having to remember that what I liked on this specific grammar point was on page 16, or that text that I like was on page 31, or that poem that we are studying right now is on page 32, for example. So this is what it is used for, my favorite. So I can select a page. Another picto we've seen earlier, how to access your group. So you saw earlier that you had that little illustration here below every books or files that you have in your material. So you can also access your group by using this in your toolbar right here and click on your group. I'm not going to go there right now. I showed you the interactive exercises earlier. Another great feature is this section here. Add. Add what? Everything you need. As I know, a lot of teachers, we have extra material, extra resources. We like to build our own notes. We do a lot of PowerPoints, or we find videos, documents, and sometimes we have to link it somehow when we have files and everything. The great feature is you can add it up all in your book. So let's say you want to add text. Well, you have a little post-it where you can type in, let's say you want to have your students do a specific homework on page 22. Well, you can open up your post-it, you select your color, and then you save it. Do I want my note to be put on left page or right page? Let's say I want it on the right page. I have it right here, and I can move it around. Here you go. And then my post-it is saved on my page, and I can access it anytime I want. All right, that's true. On this specific page, on page 17, I asked the kids to do also the homework on page 22. Awesome. I don't need it anymore. I can put it in the garbage can. But if I want to leave it there for further reference, I can as well. It can be notes for the students, or it can be notes for yourself. If I want to share that specific notes with my students, I can just leave it there. If I want to have it private, only for myself, I can click on private note, and only myself as a teacher will be able to see it if I don't want to share it with my group. What can I add? I can add a web link. So let's say I don't know. We're talking about an article here that I would like the kids to read that is linked to the subject with the text that is right there. I found something in the New York Times or in Business Magazine, or I found something in an article I want to share with them. I could just type in the link. I'm just going to do Édition CSC for an example here. I'm just going to do the triple. Let's say I just cut and paste the web links that I want to add. Title. Really simply, I can select my color. Awesome. Save. Perfect. Do I want it on my left page or right page? I select my right page. My little web link is over here. I can put it anywhere I want. So let's say I want to put it on top here just to make sure that I will recall that it's right there. And I can add as many as I want. So I can have them on as I find new web links over the year, as I have colleagues giving me new tricks that I want to integrate into my material. This is an option that you have. Audio file. You can add an audio file as well. It's a recording of 1 minute, so you won't be able to talk a lot, but at least you can just add a few info if you want, some more specification. You have 1 minute to do so. And you have the option to add a document of your own. I was talking about the fact that we do create PowerPoints, we do create notes and everything. So if you click on add a document, it will give you access to the content of your computer, and you can basically just slide in any documents that you have on your computer. So Word, Excel, PDF, whatever format, mainly pictures as well, you can just add over here. And again, if you don't erase it, you'll be able to access it anytime. So let's say you do it now at September, and by the end of the year, you want to review and go back in your book. If you didn't erase it, it's still gonna be there. All right. So this is for my main toolbar here, mainly just to show you. You can move it around. You can put it in a smaller format as well if you want to make sure that it doesn't block anything. And you also have the option of putting it vertically as well. So you can move it around as you like to work more efficiently in your book here. At the bottom, very easily, answer key. I'm just going to go back to page, my previous page, where I actually have text. So answer key, you have different options. Of course, everything is hidden right now, but I can click on one answer at the time. What option it will give me, I'm just going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to erase my previous notes. There we go. So answer key, I've selected one answer at the time. All right, so what I can do is just click on my answer box right here, and I can actually have my answers right away. If I decided, let's go on the next page here. So if I decide to have my answer key all at once, all right, I'm just gonna hide it and then start back. All right, and then all at once, everything all at once will appear. Because I'm on the left page, it's on the left page. If I was on the right page, it would show up on the right page. So really easily you can have your answer key in or out of your page depending of your one. Teachers resources, all your reproducible material. Right now you can see that I have a 5 that is right there. What does it mean? It means that I have 5 resources that are linked to that specific section. So if I was to click on it, right away I see that I have my video script. I have a vocabulary quizzes as well, PDF, and always the Word version as well. If I wanted to go and have access to all my teachers' resources, as you can see right now, I have teachers' resources related to the current page. This is why I had the 5 number. But if I wanted to have the option of seeing all at once. I just click all teachers resources, and now I can have access to all my evaluation situation, all my grammar quizzes, and everything that I have, vocabulary and answer keys and everything. So I can just click on any file here and open it up, or I can work on my toolbar here on my left side as well. So here we go. So I'm just going to go back to my page here. Ped notes. Some of our material have ped notes, some others don't, but if you do have ped notes, you'll see this section right here. And what's great about that is that it's get where you belong. So we were on page 16, 17. Well, the info you have, answer key you have right here, is really linked to the page we were on. And you have the info on the answer key. So here you have different options on evaluation. We're telling you that C2 could be evaluated if you wanted to. I'm just gonna minimize it a little bit. If I was to go on the next page, sorry. Again, I have little heads up that are given to me as information, other info about evaluation, and so on. So this is what ped notes are all about. They are supplementary information or the answer key, of course, of your material. And as you can see, I'm in my notes right now. I could always go back and click workbook, and I would be back in my workbook. So I can travel within my my section over here, or you can also travel by the top here. Let's say I click on my little triangle, workbook, notes, resources, videos. I don't have to go back all the time. Let's say I'm in my workbook and I want to go into my videos. I can only click here, and here I am into my videos. Which bring me to my next subject, which is a new function that we have this year. It's the functionality about being able to share the videos, the audios, and the reproducible material as well. If the videos are linked to an evaluation, of course, you won't be able to share them. If they're linked to the audios as well, if they're linked to an evaluation, you won't be able to share them. But if not, you will. How does it work? You select the group you want to share them with. So let's say I select my group 24. I click OK. All righty. And then what it does, it gives me the option to select the videos I want to share. So let's say I want to share this part 1. Awesome. And then I would like to share part 2 really easily. They come in gray. That means they're selected. And then they would be shared with my students. What would they see? They would see a file added in their account, which was written under videos, and then they would see those 4 videos. It wasn't what I wanted to share. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have shared part 2 right away. I just need to unselect it, and then it will get out of their file as the page will refresh. It is not instant, but almost instant as I refresh my page. All right, so this is what I made as a selection for this video. It's the exact same thing with my reproducibles. So if I want to go in my resources, let's say that I want to share my quizzes. Same thing, select my group. Awesome. The little circle will appear. I want to share the PDF version of my chapter 4 over here. That's the only thing I want to share because that's where we're at. Awesome. It's great. It means it was sent to my group 24. So you can make your selection this way really easily. I don't want it anymore. Unselect it, and there you go. So this is a new functionality that we have this year. the option to be able to share videos, and the option to be able to share audios as well, or reproducible really easily. So no email no email needed. Everything can be shared like this really easily. Now, let's go back to my bookshelf. I'm just going to go into my other material, adding up, just to show you very quickly. So I mentioned earlier that most of you, not all of you, but most of you this year bought the combo, the paper version and the digital version as well. So let's say as a teacher, I want to work in my book. Let's say I did page 102 with my students. Just going to type in page 102. All right. This is a grammar exercise. As you can see, I have my interactive activities as well. So let's say we were in class. All right, so I explained to my students that they needed to do number 1 to number 6. They needed to stop there because we didn't have time to finish the rest of my content. I explained to them that once they're done, they should, whoops, sorry, I selected this straight line. Your free line, awesome. I'll be able to they should do the interactive activities after that. Awesome. So I've explained everything. They're good on their own. They need to do it on homework. And I want to see into their account if what they did was awesome or not done at all. I'm gonna check out, so log out from this account, and I'm gonna log in as a student. So I'm no teacher anymore, I'm a student. So as a student, I log in into my account. If you remember first what they need to do, they need to join my account as my group. Remember? So earlier I told you that I had for my group 24 and 25 that we've created together an access key. So students to join my group would need to click on join a group. They would need to type in the key that I gave them. And once they did, well, they would be linked to my group. So I've already done it as a student. I've already joined the group. So this is done. And now my teacher asked me to do an homework, which was in my adding up material. So let's go into my adding up. I had to do page 102. So if I go into my page 102, I would do my homework, and then after that, my teacher could go into my material and see if I've done my homework properly. All right, log out. I'm going back as a teacher just to show you. Now it's done. All right. Okay, so now I want to see if my students did the homework I asked. I'm going to click into my group 24, which was my students that I gave the homework to. This is my book as a teacher, but I want to see if my students did their homework. So now I move to Natalie's book, and I can see that Natalie over here didn't do. Oh yeah, she did. See, she didn't start by the first part here. She didn't totally listen to what I asked. But if I move the page, I can see that Natalie started section B, and she already started answering. She even put a question mark because I guess she wasn't sure what was the rest or she had a question. So it's not exactly what I wanted, but we were moving on to that. So let's say I wanted to make sure that it's done, or to do a correction and answer key. What I can do as a teacher in my student book, I have the option by clicking on the box there to tell them if it's good, if it's wrong, or if they need to redo. So let's say that Natalie did a good job on the first one. It's green. She didn't do it properly on the second one. It's going to be red. She needs to redo it because she didn't take your time. Next time, maybe I could write her something, and see, then it's yellow, and there's a little note here. So Natalie will see that I wrote her a comment about the fact that she wasn't taking her time, or the fact that she didn't properly read the task that I asked her, and so on. So really easily I can go and correct into my student account. And by clicking on the arrow, I could move to one student to another, or because I don't have many students in my list right now, I could have all my students list here and just click on another students, and it will move on to the book. So it's always the page you open up your book to that you will access into your student book as well. As you can see, share your personal annotation with this group. So by clicking on this, I could share everything that I have in my book as a teacher with my group 24 if I wanted. So the web links that I had earlier, the little post-it that I had earlier, if I don't select the fact that I want it private, or anything that I write with my pencil or my highlighter, my students would be able, if I click on it, to access my workbook and see whatever notes that I've added. See, now I'm back into my book as a teacher. I want to go back into my student book. Just need to click on the arrow. I'm in Natalie's book right now, and I can answer or write whatever I need. Right now, you can see there's no pen or no highlighter. We've been asked by teachers if this could be a functionality that we could add. The fact that we don't only put the green, red box or yellow box, but the fact that we could come in and actually write into their textbook. This is something that will be coming up, but this is not something that is working right now. But we had the suggestion made by some teachers, and we think that it is a good suggestion. So we're going to look into that, but it's not working right now, but we're going to look into that. So this is probably something that will come with our platform when we do an update later on. But right now you could always zoom in, select your page, do whatever you want, but you can't actually write with the pen. So this is for those of you who have ordered the digital book. We do not wish to go back into distanciation. Hopefully most of your students will stay in class, but if they were not, well, this gives you an option to access and their book and teach. By mentioning teaching at a distance, we also have another option in my CC zone. I'm just going to go back. Your 3-bar here, click virtual classroom. This is something new we have this year. A lot of teachers in the spring and still had to use Teams, Google Meets, Zooms, different platforms to do virtual classes. And a lot of teachers were mentioning the fact that it wasn't easy. A lot of students were turning on their mics now when it wasn't the time. The video was on, off. They were playing a lot of noises. We couldn't really see all the time who was there, who wasn't. So we decided, and you had to move around in different platforms. So with the fact that we talked to a lot of teachers, the fact that a lot of teachers commented on that, we decided to put a virtual classroom into my CC zone. So you don't have to get out from my CC zone when you teach if you want to do a virtual class. How it works, really simple. Click on virtual class. I've already created one to show you, but easily. I want to have a virtual class. Let's say I have 5 students that aren't in class right now, and I want them to be there for the class I'm doing, or there's another teacher that is actually teaching those 5 students. Add a virtual class. Let's say it's class on grammar point 5, page 45, 46. If I want, I have a description. When is this class taking place? Let's say it's taking place in an hour. All right. How long will it take? It's going to be an hour. Who am I inviting? Am I inviting group 24, 25, or all my groups? I could invite all my groups at the same time if I wanted. I just want group 22, and I click on create. As simple as that, I've created a virtual class event in my calendar. My students, they will have on top of my CC zone an invite. In their menu, they will see that they have a virtual classroom that have been added. And in an update that is coming to my CC zone, they will also get an email telling them that they've received an invite for a virtual classroom from their teacher from my CC zone. So how it works, since I've created one, I'm just going to turn off my team camera because I'm going to open up a virtual classroom and I don't want it to interfere with my CC. So I'm just going to turn off this camera. I'm going to click on join. You should now see me in my CC zone environment. Claude, is it working?
Oui, ça fonctionne.
Okay, awesome. So now I'm in my CC zone. It says, I welcome to the class group 24 course, of course. So the meeting hasn't started yet. I'm just going to click on start the class. It's just to make sure as a teacher, am I well put on? All right, so I can click on start the class. I'm ready to go. And here I am. I'm in my class in my CC zone. What you can see is that my camera mode is on right now. Students would see me. I could also share my screen, and I could be in a work session mode as well. So share my screen, I would be able to share all my screen, some of the windows from my screen that are open, or some of my Google Chrome or whatever internet options that I have on. Right now, my CC zone and my Edition CSA, and I could share with them. So I have different options that I can share with them. What's great, if I look over here, I can mute all of my students. So as they come in, I mute them. They won't be able to turn on their mic. If I want, I'll be able, one by one, to give the right of speech to the ones that I want to speak. How will it work? They have a function to raise their hand. It's not there yet. You can't see it. It's coming next week. Because as you can see, we are still working on progressing my CC zone. We do improvement quite often, so this is coming up. So I could, by raising their hand, I could give them the right of speech. Here you can see that Natalie has joined, is in my group. Other students haven't joined yet. We're still in gray because nobody has logged in yet. So Natalie is in my group, but she hasn't logged into my session yet. This is why I can't do anything. She's in gray. I could, if I had a list of students, I could sort them by alphabetic order. I could search for a specific student. As I can see, I only have 0 students on one right now online. And if you look at the bottom, you can have your mic on if you want, your camera on or off. You have the chat section. So for communicating, your students would be able to do so by chatting. If I click on my students, I can see my list. If I click back, this will disappear and give you a great options to work. And you have different settings. So for your microphone, speaker, and so on. And of course, when your class is done, you can just hit the end button and then you're off and it's closed. So it's really, really easy. What it does is that your students will see you, but they will also see your textbook without having to share other section or other pages. They'll be able to work in their textbook as you go along and teach, or if you want to do something, you could share a student textbook if you want, because you have it digitally in My CC Zone as well. If one student does the interactive exercise, you can actually show the example, do a demo, then they can go in their workbook or in their activities right away. So it's really, really easy, and everything is only in one platform. That is My CC Zone. So I'm just gonna put an end to this session. Yes, we're leaving this class, and I'm gonna turn on my camera again. So here we go. So really easy. It's a new functionality that we have, virtual classroom. We did set up for you to be able to use this year. Claude, is there any question before we end this session?
Yes.
Okay, go.
First one, it's they want to know if they can get access to certain pages in their textbook, I guess, to the students instead of going everywhere in the teacher's textbook. Like, I don't know if I'm clear. Regarde, ouais, c'est ça, c'est que ben, de ce que je peux voir, là, c'est qu'on désire donner des accès à leur propre cahier, le cahier de l'enseignant, mais certaines pages, ce qui n'est pas disponible. Si on donne une accessibilité, c'est à tout le cahier de l'enseignant.
C'est ça, exactement. We wouldn't be able to say, as a teacher, I want to give my students access to only page 24 or only page 25. But what you could do, yes, they have access to everything, but let's say you have a specific notes. I'm just going to go back into my
le seul endroit, ce serait quand ils ajoutent une note, de mettre note privée.
Right here. If you want to add a text, let's say I'm just going to type in whatever. If I click private in that note, I save. Well, everything that I've typed in, as you can see, there's a little lock. So even though I give access to my students to all my book, anything that I've added, well, if it's in a specific post-it or so on, they won't be able to access that content. So that would be the only way, because if not, if you decide to give access to your textbook to your students, you cannot right now. It's not a possibility. I don't mean that. It doesn't mean that it won't in the future, but currently you give access to the whole workbook. Any other question?
Do I give access to my textbook to the how do I give access to my textbook to the students?
By
when you want to sharing.
Exactly. Right. So by if you want to, I'm in group 22 right now. So when they join your group, you click here. I click the group 24 over here and see share your personal annotation with this group, because I've selected that allows them to have access to my textbook. If I unclick it, then they won't have access. I will still have access to their textbook, but they won't have access to mine. So you decide if you want to give them access or not. So it's your choice. Any other question?
Il y avait une question qui est revenue quelques fois, c'était est-ce qu'on peut donner accès à certaines pages à des groupes puis à d'autres pages? Je pense que c'est plutôt de leur indiquer qu'on peut donner accès au cahier ou pas, et pas à certaines notes pour un groupe puis d'autres notes à un autre groupe. C'est ce qu'on a dans notre...
Exact,
Est-ce que tu peux
exactement.
le...
Exactement. In fact, if you want to do specification for different groups, you can do it, but only for the videos, the reproducible, the audios, and the interactive activities. This you can have different access for different group. As far as it comes down from the workbook, it's you give access to everyone or no one. So that's the way it works.
On peut demander s'ils ont des questions.
Oui, ben c'est ça.
Ouais.
If you want, at this point, I'm just gonna stop my screen share. If I do, I'll go back. No, doesn't matter. But if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and one by one, open up your mic, and we'll be able to answer your question for sure. Just before we do that, I just want to thank everyone for being here this afternoon. I know it's after a good work day. Sometimes we're tired, but thank you very much. For those of you who do not have any more questions, feel free to quit. For those of you who want to stay and have questions, just feel free to stay. But I just wanted to thank anyone and let everyone know that if you have to go, well, I totally do understand. And thank you very much for being here this afternoon. And for those of you who want to stay, no worries. We're still going to be there for a few more minutes. Thank you very much.